Anyway, Mr. Councilman Murtagh, welcome back to the Yonkers Chambers.
Miss me?
Yeah.
Good evening. For the record, my name is John Murtagh. I'm a resident of the 5th Council District and a resident of the Armavilla neighborhood, which I'm happy to say, as long as I've lived there, has been wholly in the 5th Council District. First of all, I have enormous respect, as you know, and always have had, for our uniformed services. But it strikes me as a very sad commentary when somebody up there or somebody back there was so scared of their own public and their own citizens that they felt the need to call the police to this chamber tonight. That's a sad commentary on this entire affair. And I'm going to ask my former colleagues to indulge me. My 8 years on the City Council, I think most of the people in this room know that the only time I managed to speak for less than 3 minutes was during roll call and the Pledge of Allegiance. So if I go over time, you'll bear with me. I want to correct right up front one factual statement, Mr. Lesnick. You did say at the beginning we're only going to discuss facts. You began by saying that the last time Mr. Chonigman was here for the city of Yonkers was in 2003 when Mayor Spencer brought him here. I have to correct you. The last time Mr. Chonigman was here was not in 2003. According to the New York Times, it was in 2004. Bear with me. The New York Times, November 5th, 2004. Officers who responded to a report of voter fraud found a bus matching the description given. The driver told the police that he had been hired by the Democratic Party to drive voters to the polls.
John,
don't stop me, Mr. Lesnick, to vote and distribute campaign literature. Quote, when asked where occupants of his bus were picked up, he said, New York City, the police report said. The driver also told the police that he had taken his passengers to 2 Yonkers polling places, one at 2 Quincy Place and the other at 1 Glenwood Avenue. The driver showed the police documents that listed Philip Chonigman as the renter. Contacted by telephone last night, Mr. Chonigman said he was the field coordinator for 6 Democratic candidates. Then paraphrasing, he said he knew nothing about out-of-county residents trying to vote. I'll take Mr. Chonigman at his word that he was not aware of allegations of voter fraud. But let's not make any mistake that Mr. Chonigman is nothing but a Democratic operative. 20 years ago, when I helped bring term limits to Yonkers, and for 20 years since, many people have said term limits are bad, term limits aren't the solution. And I have consistently agreed with them, even though I was one of the authors of that. I'm not a fan of term limits, but I've said for 20 years, because incumbents rig the system, because voters really don't have a fair fight, because challengers don't really have a fair fight, we need term limits. It's a blunt instrument, but it's what we need, because the system is rigged. You talked a lot about state legislative races. The fact is, statistically, in the last 20 years, a member of the New York State Legislature was more likely to leave office by conviction than at the election booth. Because they have gerrymandered the assembly seats, they've gerrymandered the Senate seats, they've rigged the system to favor the incumbents, to favor the political bosses, and to shut out the taxpayers, the citizens, and the challengers. The simple fact is, that is all you are doing here tonight. To suggest anything different when you look at that backwards, upside-down, L-shaped 4th Council District is simply a joke. I'd almost have more respect if you admitted what you were doing. But you don't. You pretend it's something different. The fact is, we don't need any change. This city is properly, the maps are properly drawn, the city is properly represented, the law is met, and this is nothing but a power grab by political bosses. Thank you.